That's dumb. Now it's up. Hooray. I'm sure you're all very, excited about that. But it is going to be a Terran versus Terran again. We have another Terran versus Terran, this time on Newkirk District, which is one of those new ladder maps that was ported over from Heart of the Swarm. Personally, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm a Zerg player. I feel like I should like it. It's big, but I don't really like that it has those 2 watchtowers that make it really hard to get counterattacks and that sort of thing. It's kind of tricky to make those sort of things work on this map. Mutas, though, are pretty good. There's a lot of space right here around. I mean, there's not space back here, so it's not actually that great, but they can kind of, run back and forth. But I'll go ahead and introduce our players. We do have xORawwwrmill down here in the bottom right. He is the blue Terran, and we do have Sentinel Gaming's Kingdom, who is the red Terran in the bottom left. I also want to clarify some comments I made earlier. I did mention that I prefer macro style play, and then I was laughed at on my team channel. I don't always prefer macro style play, of course. Occasionally I'll go for some all-ins or that sort of thing. And in fact, Kingdom was the person making fun of me for it. He often bears the brunt of that. But yeah, so Zerg, you can be a macro-oriented player, I feel like, or you can be more aggressive. I think Arterial's problem in that last game was that he was aggressive, but he didn't take the precautions he needed behind it. If he had just made Spore Crawlers, he would have been fine. He would have had the opportunity to tech and do his roach traps and do all that sort of stuff. But because he didn't, he just lost. He just outright lost to 3 Banshees. And that's just something you never really want to see happen. He must have felt like he didn't have the drone count to do it, but I'm actually stunned about why he didn't put them in at his, the natural base. I mean, the losing the 3rd, it happens, it sucks, and it's unfortunate, but he should have started building Sport as his natural the second that those Banshees arrived. Instead, he just, I don't know. But things happen, everyone makes mistakes, everyone has a bad game. Not too big of a deal. So we'll go ahead and focus on this one. Currently, xORawwwrmill has taken 2 games from Sentinel Gaming, so nice play from him so far. We'll see if Kingdom's able to turn the tide a little bit here, or if Raw is going to take his team up 3-0, which would definitely be unfortunate for Sentinel Gaming. Kingdom's SCV does get denied here. Nice little timing there from Raw. He seems to be very keen on his opponent's SCV timings. He knows how long it takes to get there, and he put that supply depot up in just the right amount of time. This, he tries to do a little bit of attack here, but of course it's not going to go down. He is going to go ahead and continue building that supply depot. We do see that Kingdom did let his opponent's SCV into the base, but there's nothing really to see. Both players are opening almost in the exact same manner. And yeah, so that's about it. Kingdom has not yet started producing a Marine. He's actually just making more SCVs, doesn't even feel the need to make that Marine. In fact, he goes immediately for a second command center. And the question, Rawmill, I think he scouted that. I think he saw that. I actually want to know. No, amazingly, he did not scout that, so he does not know that his opponent is going for that 1-Rex fast expand. Now, he saw no gas, so he might be able to just safely assume that that's what his opponent is going to go for. It wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination by any means for him to assume that, but he did see no gas, so he didn't actually get to see that command center going down. I do like that Kingdom builds his in the base. I think it's just a little bit more safe against any sort of crazy aggressive opening that could be coming out. Raw is building his on the low ground, so if there was some sort of high aggressive play that he would have to be forced to cancel. He does have the watchtower, of course, with that 1 Marine, so he would see it coming. There's nothing too crazy that could come out right now, since there was no gas. We're not going to see any Reapers or anything like that. We are seeing a 2 barracks follow-up to this from Rawmill, so he's looking to get a lot of bio out pretty quickly here. Both gases have gone down for him as well, finishing up just a little bit later. Kingdom gas mining did start a lot sooner. In fact, his factory would be a good number of time beforehand if he so chooses to go for that. He is getting a reactor on his barracks, so he'll be able to pump out a lot of Marines. Not quite as many as his opponent, who will be on those 3 racks, but now getting a tech lab on that 3rd barracks. And a reactor on the other one, so we are almost certainly going to see a pretty dedicated bio play coming out from Rawmill, at least for the sort of early stages of the game. More Marines are being built now for Kingdom as well. Not being built, are coming down and scouting around for Kingdom as well, making sure that there are no bunkers or anything crazy like that. No SCVs there as well. And he's building a bunker of his own at the top of the ramp just to defend him from any sort of early game shenanigans. Bunker could come in handy later as well. So both players just macroing up. Factory has gone down a lot earlier for Kingdom. It'll be done very shortly here. Raw has not yet started his factory. So he is actually looking to get pretty aggressive. Although the reactors mean that he's not necessarily to be like super aggressive right now, because if you're building this reactor, you're not actually able to build any Marines, and reactors take a pretty long time to build, like just as long as a single barracks does. So it'll be some time before he's able to actually make Marines out of here, and if he wanted to be attacking right now, he probably wouldn't have thrown down that reactor. Although, as I said, that he's going to press forward with these 4 Marines just to check out what his opponent is doing. This one SCV is just doomed to die. Very sad for that SCV, but those 4 Marines are not going to do any damage here. There is a bunker. They're just going to have to poke up, see that there's a bunker, and retreat. Stim is already almost halfway done, but we do see a tank now coming out from sGcKingdom, who is looking like he's going to be going for some sort of mech play, because we're seeing a factory going down on that reactor. So we're going to see Mech out of Kingdom, who is now scouting with his barracks, or at least has it here just to spot for any drops. He hasn't yet shown it, and I like that. And right now, Raw has no idea that his opponent will be going for mech play. He's getting down a factory of his own. Stim is more than halfway complete at the moment, and he might be going for some sort of Stim timing here. Let's see if he throws down a starport now. Yep, there it goes. He might be going for some sort of medevac with Stim timing here, and if Kingdom doesn't have enough siege tanks out, he might be in a bit of trouble, and there could definitely be some drop play that comes in as well. But Kingdom is getting that siege tech, is already halfway done, has that first tank already out, and we'll have another out soon. These Marines are now retreating. Didn't see all that much. This tank's just hanging out. Did any of these do anything? No, not really. Kingdom, we'll see. He's going for mech. I'm curious when he'll start his upgrades right now. Siege tank finishing up, making a Viking as well. He'll make that Viking and send it over here just to spot for drops. Very smart. And now a couple more Marines being built. Combat shield, is it on the way? Nope, hasn't started combat shield yet. His Stim did just finish up, and he does have +1 attack coming out for his Marines. Hasn't started the +1 armor yet. He does have the 2nd engineering bite, and he actually has the requisite gas to do it, but he hasn't started that armor or his combat shield yet. And I'm curious what he's waiting for. Making more Marines and more Marines. He's a little bit supply blocked at the moment. Not the end of the world. We are now seeing the blue flame coming up for those Hellions, so it is going to be Hellions, tanks. Eventually, maybe he'll make some Thors, but right now, Hellion tanks can be really strong composition. Marauders are slowly being added into the composition for Rawmill, and now he has started a combat shield, making a bunker. Yep, there we go. And floating that factory. So it is going to be pure bio out of Raw versus the pure mech for Kingdom. Always interesting to see these two styles go up against one another. Bio is, of course, much more maneuverable than mech, but mech, you know, in a straight-up engagement is pretty much going to win always against bio, unless the bio has, you know, some really good positioning and you get some really good, maybe drop behind the tanks and snipe some tanks. Things like that can be really effective as well. But it's you know, it's rare for. Oop, and a nice, I'll stop talking because some nice action over here trying to double drop, but those Vikings do spot for it. This factory is giving him a little bit of vision. Now these medevacs are actually pretty damaged, so this might be a little bit ill-advised. He's going to left-only lose some Marines here. And actually, yeah, so he loses both those medevacs, just a couple Marines make it in, and they're not going to be able to do too much damage because this army for Kingdom is just going to be way too strong. And Raw wow, he just lost those 2 medevacs full of Marines for very little gain. Going to go ahead and try to push up the front with these Marines and this 1 Marauder, but there are 3 Hellions and a bunker. He is going to have to pull back. He knows he's not going to be able to do the damage he would have liked to do. A 3rd command center is about to finish for Kingdom, and he's looking to be in excellent shape, both economically and in terms of army. He has 6 more workers and a much more effective army. Army supply is identical right now, but if it came down to a straight-up fight, I have to think that Kingdom's army would prevail. And again, ringing his base with these missile turrets, very smart play. Has these Vikings here. He's just covering all of his bases. And it looks like Rawmill is just going to go ahead and possibly go for it here. He's sending more and more Marines, has these 2 medevacs that have finished up here as well. They're hanging out. I'm not sure what they're... Oh, they're going to go ahead and join the army. He's maybe going to try one more drop here. But Raw, I'm not sure he has the army to really be engaging. Now, of course, Kingdom cannot lose all of these Hellions for no reason. These tanks do siege up. Trying to bait his opponent into an engagement here. And he's going to load up into this medevac. He does spot, of course, with the missile turret. Spot the missile turret with the medevacs. And Kingdom is just going to try to defend both at the front and at the natural, and it looks like Raw really needs to make something happen here. He has this army here, and he's just continuously pumping out units. He has almost finished up, now has finished up his 3rd command center, so he'll be soon on an equal economic footing as his opponent. Only 3 workers actually separate the 2 at the moment, and it looks like Kingdom is going to go ahead and try to take his expansion right here. We do have a siege tank already sieged up, more siege tanks in good position over here. It's going to be really hard for him to break this line. Unsieging 1 tank, and now he's going to move that somewhere else. He is kind of uncovered right here. A Stim over right there could do a lot of damage. And he's going to pick up all of these medevacs, loading up units, and he's going to make a big drop into the back of the base. And the Kingdom is just being pulled out of position. He has no idea that it's coming. And this could be really deadly for Kingdom. Here comes the drop in the back of his base. He's going to pull off all these SCVs. Are they all going to fall? Really quick reaction time in terms of the units, but the SCVs do all fall, and that's really bad for Kingdom. He loses a lot of SCVs. Of course, he does have siege tanks right here, and these Marines aren't going to be able to do much more damage than that, and they might be here to die because there is that Viking. And he's pushing over into the natural base, but into the third base, but these tanks clear up any of that. And actually, all of those units end up dying. So Raw did kill off a lot of workers. Actually, killed off 20 workers so far, 22 workers so far in this game. But at the cost of losing quite a bit of his army. The army supply is vastly favoring Kingdom right now. And Kingdom, you know, he might actually want to just go ahead and get aggressive. And this is exactly what I was talking about, where there's space for these Marines to do some damage right here, and its orbital command just can't really do anything about it. Raw is being very aggressive right now. Raw is being very aggressive right now. But again, Kingdom could honestly just unsiege a lot of these tanks in pretty much 1A into his opponent and crush this army. So I think Kingdom might realize that as well and might just think, time to go attack. But no, he's just going to go ahead and, well, maybe. He's pulling his orbital command back. Does need to re-land that and start mining from there once again, because incomes are currently vastly favoring Raw. Another drop actually happening in the main base for Kingdom, and Rawmill is doing a lot of damage. Again, this is the way you have to absolutely play bio against a meching opponent. You have to be dropping everywhere, be very aggressive. The question is it going to be enough? While the economy now for Rawmill has taken the turn for the better, Kingdom does have still that more efficient army. +3 attack is coming out now for Rawmill, so he's going to be able to engage pretty effectively, actually. And if you take a look at the upgrades for Kingdom, they're not very great right now. Both 1 and 2, 1-2, I believe, 1-1 actually right now for him, versus the 1-2, soon to be 3-1, 1-3. I don't know which you should say first. Damage first. I like saying damage first, even though it's kind of like over here. Now it's 2-2, so kind of irrelevant. And Kingdom's just going to keep turtling up. He's just going to go for. And as I say that, he goes and attacks. Kingdom, come on now. Why do what I say you're going to do? Trying to get a big, gigantic tank shots actually just take out so many units here. Wow, that army just died in one big fire of tank shell. In one big shelling of tank fire. I'm going to say it that way. That sounds better. And so these units are really caught out of position. They're not going to be able to do too much damage. Now, Raw does have a chance that he could kind of just run in here with a bunch more units. These units are really... He is chasing these units way too much right now. I'm not sure what he hopes to accomplish by that. There are enough units here that they could actually probably hold on. But he does lose a couple of tanks here that he probably didn't actually have to lose. And so Rawmill does lose all of these units, but does get a better trade than I think he might have anticipated. Now, this is where Kingdom should just be on the move. He has done so much damage. His army is very strong. His opponent is on 4 bases. He can't afford to let his opponent keep macroing the way that he is and keep being aggressive the way that he is. He needs to go ahead and try to make something happen. Kingdom, if you take a look at the production tab, has his weapons upgrade 2 on the way, but that's it. He's making 3 more tanks, 2 more Hellions, and this is just a pure Hellion tank Viking composition he's going to be throwing at his opponent right now. And Raw, he's pulling back his army. It's not that great right now, and tanks that are sieged up could do a lot of damage. Accidentally loading up a couple of those Marines and Marauders, not the biggest deal, but now here comes the big engagement. Tanks sieging up, leapfrogging a couple of tanks forward, a massive siege up, and there's just no way Raw can hope to engage this army. He could probably use the throw ahead and probably try to drop into his opponent's base or something like that. A SCV train trying to escape. Vikings firing on that orbital command right now. And here come 4 Marines just trying to do whatever they can. This 1 Hellion might be enough to stop them. Maybe not. Probably not. But with that tank, he should be just fine. And Raw, he's just being completely contained by Kingdom right now. Now, Kingdom, I don't believe, knows about this space over here. And that could cause him a lot of trouble, because the economy for Raw is actually better than he believes it to be at the moment. If you take a look at the income tabs, Raw still has an advantage, because Kingdom is only operating off of 3 bases, and he's pretty much mined out at his main. Going to be mined out soon at his natural as well. Now these tanks and these Hellions, these tanks really, this is just an unassailable army right now, and Raw just does not have the army supply to deal with this. And because he's going pure bio, you really need to have overwhelming odds against your opponent to engage with a pure bio army against this many tanks. Nice pull off of the SCVs, but the entire army does fall for Rawmill, and really in the blink of an eye, Raw's supply dropped from 140 to 72. It drops by a lot, and the Kingdom is looking really strong right now in this game, in this position. There's almost he'd have to make a big mistake here with his army in order to lose this one. He can just go ahead and start pressing in. And it looks like there's going to be a big doom drop coming in on top of these tanks. A nice tank spread actually makes it so that not all of the tanks are going to go down, and unsieging some of those tanks as well is smart. But these units actually being pretty effective right now. But that's just about the entire army of Rawmill. If we take a look at our army supply, he's down to 50 army supply versus the 82 army supply of Kingdom. And more tank reinforcements are coming in. Now, again, these medevacs are doing a lot of damage, and these Marines and Marauders do have tons of upgrades. All of the SCVs died over here. Not sure when that happened. Maybe he pulled them off to deal with this army from Kingdom. Almost certainly what happened. He's now going to press in with these Hellions, try to do some damage. The income now for Raw has dropped to only 120. Kingdom is mining at 1,500 minerals per minute almost, and he's just looking in really good shape in this game. Raw's going to have to make a miracle happen if he wants to take this game from Kingdom. And he's going to, of course, have to lift this orbital command off because there is no anti-air here at the moment. And here's the stim in. These Marauders are kind of the last hope of Rawmill. The tanks do siege up. The medevacs pull away with those Marauders. There are a couple of Vikings here focusing down as many of the medevacs as possible. And this army, it's being cost-effective right now. He's doing a good job. He's marking them well. But there just might not be enough stuff. Kingdom just keeps pressing in, just with these Hellions and Vikings actually right now. These Hellions will, of course, have to pull back. They can't hope to engage as Marauders, but this tank shield right here is so very strong. And Kingdom just keeps sending more and more units. He's making a 4th command center as well, and he's just continuing to rally his tanks and his Hellions across the map. Spotting with the factory is nice, but there are a lot of Hellions right here. 2 Marauders pulling out, trying to be a little bit like heroes. These Hellions could probably actually just swing into his opponent's mineral line and do as much damage as they want, because they're not really necessary. I mean, they're tanking damage in this fight. The Marauders fighting the Hellions means the tanks can just kill everything. Raw drops to 40 supply here. That medevac does get focused down. It is 131 supply to the 32 of xORawwwrmill, and Kingdom is just looking absolutely dominant in this game. His upgrades lagged a little bit behind, but at the end of the day, that sort of very dedicated aggression coming out from Rawmill wasn't able to do quite enough damage, and Kingdom was able to hold on until he got that mega army of just a ton of tanks, a ton of Hellions, and just a couple of Vikings for air superiority. And that really was all that Kingdom needed to push across the map and just absolutely run over his opponent's army. And there's the GG. Kingdom takes the game, and it's 1-2 Sentinel Gaming versus xOGaming's B team.